The worst financial advice I ever received came from the smartest person I knew. My uncle, a man who had crossed deserts, built a home with his own hands and raised 5 children on almost nothing, looked me in the eyes one afternoon and said, "Storing money is for people who are afraid of it." I didn't understand him then, I do now. There's a fable that keeps circling in my mind, not from a book, from life. Picture a man, we'll call him Tomas, living in a dry, sun-cracked town where the wind carries more dust than opportunity. Tomas was not a bad man, he wasn't cruel, he wasn't dishonest. He was just still. While the world moved around him, neighbors planting, trading, building, Tomas sat on his porch with a cup of tea and a head full of one day. One day I'll start that business. One day the timing will be right. One day things will be easier. His wife, Lucia, never complained out loud. But you could see it in the way she stretched every meal. One potato becoming a soup, one soup becoming tomorrow's breakfast. She was a quiet genius of survival. Their granddaughter, a barefoot little girl named Rosa, once pulled at Tomas's sleeve and whispered something that broke him open. She didn't ask for a toy. She didn't ask for anything big. She just asked, "Abuelo, is there anything to eat tonight?" The cupboard behind Lucia was open. It was empty. That night, Tomas did not sleep. Not because of guilt, though there was plenty of that, but because something shifted inside him, like a rusted gear finally catching. The next morning, Tomas became a laborer. He was not young. His knees reminded him of that constantly, but he showed up before sunrise, worked until the sky turned orange, and came home with coins pressed into his rough, swollen palm. It wasn't much, but it was real. For the first time, he understood the dignity of earned money. And then he heard something at the market that changed his thinking again. 2 merchants were arguing about wealth. One said, "The key is discipline, save everything, spend nothing." Tomas nodded, that made sense. He found an old tin box. He started filling it. Every week, clink, a few coins in. He skipped replacing his torn sandals. He drank water instead of coffee. He told Rosa that the box was their future. She believed him. Months passed. The box grew heavy. And then the market raised its prices. What once bought 3 bags of rice now bought 1.5. Tomas stared at his tin box, full of coins, worth less than the day he started. He hadn't grown anything. He had just preserved it, like pickling something that was already rotting slowly. That evening, sitting outside as the stars came out, Tomas watched his neighbor walk past carrying a basket of eggs. The neighbor wasn't wealthy. He had the same cracked hands, the same dusty boots, but he had no worry in his eyes. Tomas called out, "Hermano, how do you do it?" The neighbor laughed. "Chickens, my friend. I don't save eggs. I let chickens make more eggs." It sounds simple, maybe even silly. But Tomas heard something enormous in those words. He went back to his tin box. He counted everything. And then, instead of protecting those coins from the world, he sent them into it. He bought 4 chickens. Skinny, scraggly, unimpressive chickens. Rosa named them all. She chased them around the yard, laughing until she fell. The first egg arrived 3 days later. Then 2, then 4, then 12. They ate some. They sold the rest. With the money, they bought 2 more chickens, then feed, then a small fence, then a sign on the road. Fresh eggs, Tomas and Rosa. Neighbors started coming. Then strangers. Then a small restaurant in the next town. Tomas started keeping a notebook. Not a fancy one, just a folded piece of paper. But he tracked everything. Every egg, every sale, every reinvestment. The money wasn't just sitting anymore. It was alive. One afternoon, Tomas held up a single egg, still warm, and showed it to Rosa. "You know what this is?" he asked. She shrugged. "Breakfast?" He smiled. "It's a question. Every egg asks, will you eat me today or will you let me become 10 more tomorrow?" Rosa thought about it seriously, the way only children can. "So money is the same?" she asked. "Money is exactly the same," he said. "If you just hold it, it slowly loses power. But if you ask it to work, even in the smallest way, it answers you back." That was the day Tomas stopped being still. Not because he became rich overnight, he didn't, but because he finally understood the difference between storing value and creating it. Here's what I want you to take from this story. Saving money is not the enemy. Savings create options, but savings alone are a holding cell, not a destination. The question isn't just how much can I keep. The question is, what can this money become? Even the smallest investment, in a skill, in a tool, in something that produces more than it costs, changes the entire equation. Tomas didn't need a business degree. He needed 4 chickens and the courage to try. What's your version of 4 chickens? Think about it. If this story sparked something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories like this, about real wisdom told simply, subscribe. We're just getting started.